hello. Okay, so let's get over to the news. Here we go with the news. Okay, we're going to have Amazon and Apple are urging a federal judge to dismiss charges that they dupe customers claiming they sell streaming videos by retaining the rights to revoke purchasers' access to the material. It's like, imagine you buy a car, right? And then, a year goes by and it's running good and you think, it's a really good car. And all of a sudden the tow truck pulls it away and they tell you, well, you didn't do the software update that cost you $10,000 because you really didn't buy a car. You bought a computer licensing agreement that you're allowed to use this car as long as you keep paying us for the software that's embedded in it. And there's actually some court cases about whether a car company is now a software company, and if it is, that they can license you the use of it, even though you think you're buying it. What a world we live in. No one will own anything, and everyone will be happy. Anyway, I don't know where that case is going to go, but I thought it was funny. They are duping you. Yes, exactly right. They're exactly duping you, and I'm here to help. Turbulent paper market. Amid the turbulent paper market, LSC, one of the biggest printers, is buying one of the big paper companies. And, we pitch mail every day, but not everybody knows that if you decide to do mail and you decide to do it in a fairly big way, you may be on the hook to find the paper. It's like, I'm a printer, but I'm not a paper maker, and there's this paper shortage. That's what happens when the economy heats up. It's a good test of the strength of the economy is whether or not you can find paper and how easy it is. And so in spite of everything that everybody thinks about, mail being dead and printing being dead, we can't find enough paper. So it was funny because I heard Wayfair, when they talked about getting into a catalog, at Namoa, they were talking about how hard it was and how they had to lay everything out ahead of time and plan everything, and they had to plan 6 months out in advance, and they weren't used to doing that. They were used to throwing a product up there and hoping, in a couple hours to see what happens. And especially, they said, we didn't know we had to buy the paper. Well, yeah, it might have to. It depends on how much you want, If you just want to go to your Insti printer, they have paper on hand for that. But if you want to print, like 3 million books or something, that's a lot of paper. And you save money if you buy it ahead. So, I remember when they were presenting and they were talking about all the hurdles they had, and I looked around at the table I was sitting at and I said, they could have called any one of us at this table and we would have solved most of their problems for them. At least telling them what they were up against. But anyway, that's the way it is with young kids. So Facebook asked the FTC to remove Chairwoman Khan from the antitrust case, and there's no penalty for filing this, so they just did it, and probably it won't help, probably won't happen, but, clear that all the posturing is merely opening gamuts in a long, long game. Okay. My wife does posting on Facebook. She has, a couple dozen accounts on Facebook pages that she updates every week with common sense kind of health information, what to do for poison ivy, what to do for sunburn, that kind of stuff. And routinely, Facebook blocks it because it says that she's dispensing health information. Now, hers is all footnoted from Mayo Clinic and Berkeley Wellness Letter and all that. And she said to me today, how can they do that? How can they just block things that are medical just because they don't want anybody to question any of the medical dictates that are coming out? I said, you got me. That's what they do. So I hope Facebook gets knocked down a couple pegs, but I doubt it. It's easier to buy a politician than it is to buy a website or a massive billion-member social media platform. And that may not be happening. I don't know. I don't have an opinion on it. I just happen to watch what happens. Okay, here's an excellent, super excellent article by Tonya Powers, Director of Marketing Production Print Solutions. I don't know what that means. Could be Director of Marketing, print production print solutions. Maybe she prints stuff, but maybe she just helps people who do print. Maybe she just markets to people who produce print. No idea. Anyway, Canon Solutions America. So I'm guessing that's like a digital printing machine. And she says, The noise on digital channels is overwhelming. Yep. I tell people, you probably can't remember one digital ad you saw this morning so far, and you've probably already seen 100. There's 3 right there, not counting the spinning world. That's ISSM, WDMA, and 10 at 10. That's my logo for the show. Okay? Now you remember 3. Not because you would have cared or remembered, but now you remember because you and I interacted and we had engagement. See? I'm an influencer. Woo-hoo. Anyway, we're programming you. The truth is, as advertisers have shifted their dollars into the digital world, print has gotten less and less attention. It didn't get that much attention in the first place. You know, I remember seeing all kinds of media studies, and they wouldn't even mention direct mail, even in the booming times of the 80s. No, because they don't like print. It's complicated. It's complicated. You might have to buy your own paper. You might have to deal with postal regulations. You know, I once printed 500,000 catalogs, and we were just over the maximum for the standard rate. Oh, I got in trouble for that. They said they never mocked it up. They never mocked it up. The printer's supposed to do that. And that was LLC's precursor, R.R. Donnelly Printing. I was too little a project for them at the time with 500,000 catalogs. They were into big stuff. And later I printed 6 million with them, and they gave me some great terms and stuff. So I've always liked Donnelly. It's not that I don't like them, but we should have mocked that up. So there's some details that you might want to keep in mind unless you all of a sudden want to get an extra bill for a couple of $1,000s. But the print can play a strong role in any sort of multi-channel campaign. Now, if you've heard me ever on this show, you'll hear me say it should be the foundation of the multi-channel. Mass media is not good at tracking, not good at attribution. Social media is a little better, almost worse, because there's more channels. And so if you want to know what's going on, you need to establish an intellectual foundation in print and then pour gas on it with mass media. And as I said yesterday on the show, and was quoted on Twitter, and that was kind of fun, and Ruth Stevens called it out. I said, the thing about mail is it doesn't throw itself away. All digital advertising vanishes. As soon as you ignore it, it's gone, right? It may come back again. They're always coming back at you, but it's gone if you ignore it. And so we learned that ignoring it has a very high value. Whereas mail, on the other hand, you know, one of my children got a parking ticket and ignored it. It came in the mail. He doesn't read his mail. Came in the mail, ignored it. Came in the mail, another one, he ignored it. He kept ignoring it. You know, eventually they suspended his license. Then he got pulled over and got a ticket for driving with a suspended license for a $20 ticket. Eventually it cost him a couple of $1,000s in legal fees trying to keep his license. All from a $20 parking ticket mailing. You have to read your mail. Should. It's a good idea. Anyway, print has staying power. That's a good story for you. For an ad to work, it needs to be memorable. Okay, print ads in direct mail have a lifespan of 17 days. And if around here they have, you know, I keep them around forever, right? I found that Uline catalogs, the Uline guy's coming this morning to talk to me about a product. But anyway, the Uline catalogs make excellent cutting boards. You can cut on them and cut on them and cut on them and never damage your countertop. And after it gets a little bit cut up, you get another one free in the mail. Anyway, probably hadn't thought about that either. You don't have to throw them away right away. You can utilize them. Second use. Direct mail is 100% recyclable if you know how to do it. Okay, email has a lifespan of 1.5 hours. Maybe, if you don't completely ignore it. I like the read all, mark all read button. I don't know if that counts as an open because I am marking them red. I'm not just letting them pile up. Social media mere minutes. The Go Inspire group did a study. I will attach the study in the show notes today. If you go over to wdma.org and subscribe, you can have access every day to the show notes. Subscription is free. Okay, to prove the concept, Canada Post did another study, and they found that 75% on a recall study were able to recall the brand from print, but only 44% were able to Recall digital ads. Print ads are much less taxing on the brain, and this is why this is a great article, because not only does it tell you the cool stuff about your brain, but it also includes footnotes to these studies. And if you have this tool that I have, you can actually go like this. Go like this, and it will ask you if you want to open it, which I don't. But I will put all of these studies, which are referenced in this article. It's a great article. You wouldn't need to get your hands on it if you're a printer. Great article, and it just came out yesterday or the day before. Get your hands on the article, get your hands on the studies, read them, and you'll have some ammunition when people say, oh, yeah, we tried that. It's not the way it works. Print also connects emotionally. MRI studies. They studied people's brains, and they watched what happens with digital, and they watched what happens with print. What do you know? That sounds pretty cool. Print creates action. Research at Canada Post researched the motivation to cognitive load ratio. This is real science, not like Facebook. Okay, eye tracking barometrics found that direct mail had a motivation to cognitive load of 1.31, while digital media just 0.087. That's almost 75% better. I did that math in my head. Could be completely wrong, but it's something around there, right? Because 1.3 is about 75% of 16, 1.6. But this is actually closer to 1.9. So it's more like maybe 2/3, 60% better. Go and... If you can't follow that math, don't be surprised, because I'm doing it in my head. Okay, Go Inspire is a study on shopping cart abandonment or not abandonment. And, the issue I have with it, it's like one really good case study in here. It says that physical mail was the push consumers needed to return to their carts. Conversion rates from mail pieces were 113% of the email conversion ratio. Okay, and they said that they sent 3 emails. But what does an email cost? A nickel? They might be more on a snazzy shopping cart abandonment, company. Maybe it costs you more. But let's just say a nickel. So that's 15 cents. What does a follow-up direct mail piece cost? Maybe 75 cents if it's a postcard. Okay, so that's 5 times more, right? Quick math. 5 times more expensive, only 2 times more effective. What's the ROI on that? I'd like to know, but we have to go find the Go Inspire thing. I'm not saying there isn't ROI, and there's incremental. And yesterday, John made the point that some mailers, some companies, big companies, they have a lot of ad budget, and they say, we want to mail everybody. We want to mail as much as possible so that we can maximize our total response. And there's a rationality to that may be lost on us little direct marketers that are always worrying about maximizing our return on investment. Big companies aren't like that. They know that there's also brand recognition from mail, that it works as well or better than a mass media ad. So why not mail all of them? You know that they're more interested than the average consumer, period. Right? There may be other beneficial effects. So don't tell your clients, oh, you don't have to mail all those. I had a client that was a business-to-business mailer, and they just mailed all the business addresses, all the addresses in like SIC 3500. That's like all manufacturers in America. They said, John, people don't rent our list like we rent lists. I said, well, how do people rent your list? They said, well, they only want our most recent buyers. I said, okay, that's right. That's mostly how people rent lists. I said, how do you rent lists? They said, well, we just take all of SIC 3500. I said, and you make money? Oh, yeah, they made a lot of money. Their catalog, I said that their catalog looked like they used color as a club just to prove that they, like beating people over the head to prove that they had color. I mean, it was one of the ugliest. I think I wrote to the owner and I said, it's the ugliest catalog I've ever seen. And then I found out that he was getting something like $15 a book, sales per book, even on prospect mailings, and profit of like $5 a book. That's at least, that's, I don't know, a couple 100% return on investment. And I said, forget everything I said, forget it. You're doing better than Land's End or LL Bean. Mail more. But anyway, we did actually raise we raised their revenue per piece anyway, because there were some things we could help with. But the best part was they asked me on their order form. It said, we guarantee shipment in 32 working hours. I said, 32 working hours. That's like at 8 hours a day. That's like 4 days. So if you order on a Monday afternoon, you guarantee it's going to ship by Friday. Yeah. I said, what are you doing? Why does it take you so long? Most of their items were very small, And I went out in the warehouse, and the items were arranged by part number, and they assign the part numbers randomly through time, So the next new item they're going to sell gets a new part number, and it gets put in the back. And so they had these big machines and stuff sitting right at the doors of the warehouse. I said, how many of those you sell a year? Oh, 1 or 2, pretty good seller. I said, have you ever heard of velocity shipment? No. I said, you put gravity feed bins on your 20% of your top selling items. You take a look at the number of units you sell, not the dollars. You can do it by profit too if you want. But anyway, the units, and you take out a couple shelves and just make a row of all these items so that you can fill the boxes with those. See how many of the boxes you can fill. Well, the operations guy calls me about, and then they told me, they admitted, they never go to conferences or anything. They just made it up as they go along. And he calls me up in about a week later. He says, we're doing 95% same day now. Sell good products, good prices and get it there on time. That's the key to business as I see it. So this is a great article. You ought to get it. Have a great day. I'm still under 20 minutes. You can watch it at double speed. Like and share. Your friends will know you're smart. Have a great day.